I just got the notification.
We're live.
Awesome. Okay. Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Love and Swirl. I got to get better at introducing that. But as always, I'm Piper,
I'm D.
I'm Danny.
and today we're going to talk about sex, swirl, and religion. And as always, we're interactive, so everybody feel free to say whatever you want. Just be kind because we're all mature and this is a safe space. So
Safe
nobody's here to
space?
judge. We're all, yes, this is a safe space. Safe space.
I'm definitely going to judge people on what they say.
Oh, well, we will judge you, but we will do it in love. So we'll do it in love and swirl. So as you can see, I can't be seen again. I'm working on that. It's dark where I am, so you would be happier looking at a picture anyway. So
Did you get attacked by a bear or something up there?
no,
Mall.
no, I did get
Is
attacked
that
once
what's
by a
going on?
bear.
You're waiting for your plastic surgery to heal?
Yeah, yeah, that's it. I did get attacked by a large spider earlier, so there's that. But other than that, we're all good. But remember, this is a safe space. We do reserve the right to delete or block or whatever should your comments be catty and vicious or mean. So, or a little bit of everything. So remember, uh, gloves on, clean fight. So we had a question from one of our viewers that we thought we would address in this episode because it was a really good issue that we thought maybe some other people might be unclear on. So we're going to have Dee go ahead and read the question, and then we will all answer from
Let,
there.
Okay.
let me go to the comments really quick though, guys.
Okay.
So we have quite a few people that have been hanging out with us, waiting for this show to start. Sorry about that. Technical
We suck.
difficulties
We're
suck.
sorry.
Um, but Deshay's
We're
here.
I suck. I'm sorry.
Deshay's here. NJ Princess, either O or zero, I'm not sure. She says hey. Um, Toya
Hey.
Maxi's here. She says hey. Tamisa Lundy, hello everyone. Hope you're having a lovely evening. And then we also have Mike from Oz. He says, morning all, listening from class as I do design work. Thank God for headphones. And then cool guy emoji. And then In Chinden, who's actually the viewer that wrote us, she said, so happy this topic is covered. Thank you guys.
You're welcome. Ta-da.
All right.
So let's crack this baby open because we're late because we run on CP time, even though Danny's not colored. But all right.
So we're not sure how to pronounce it, so forgive us if we butcher it. The Niceden.
Nice sit in. Yeah, they're on right now too.
Oh, great.
Welcome. Thank
So
you for joining us.
so we butchered that. So all right.
Totally. Let's see. So the
Give us
first,
the phonetic spelling of your name.
it looks like Niceden. Oh, the New York City Indian.
The New York City Indian. There it is.
Nice. All right. I like that play on words. So she says, hi, I've been watching. Well, this is the first question, and we didn't address this, and this
This
is
was a
from
while
a
ago.
video from a while ago, last year sometime, I think early last year. She says, hi, I've been watching for over a year and enjoy your show. My husband and I are a mixed couple, me Native and Black, hubby is Japanese, and new parents of a newborn. Baby is a toddler now. That's like how long?
Congratulations.
Sorry, right? We are both secular people and embrace all communities, which give us more wide spectrum lens because we are not religious. In today's political climate / election, people are forced to have uncomfortable conversations about our ideological views because of the candidates and their stance on conservatism versus liberalism. I noticed you touched on some topics, including Asians sexuality, and the trans community. Since you guys are conservative Christians, it is an absolute deal breaker to consider being, or is it, I'm sorry, an absolute deal breaker to consider being with a person who has more liberal views than yourself? Could you be with someone who is pro-mixing but anti-abortion, anti-birth control but pro-interfaith, anti-gay but pro all other human rights? You're open to swirling, but are you also open to different perspectives? I'd love to hear your opinions on the future show, and the future is now.
And we really appreciate the question because it made us do some thinking and some searching. But to put this to bed, because I decided that I would be the designated putter to bed of this one very important topic, we are not all conservative Christians, nor is our show based on conservative Christian beliefs. If our opinions happen to fall in line with conservative Christian beliefs, that is just a funny coincidence. But it's definitely not something that we um, decided to do and have our show be specifically geared around and formed around. All of us have, belief system, a different belief system, or not necessarily all of us, but we all have some form of belief system that may be different from others, and so though we all do agree on certain things, and that just seems like, honestly, that's just how it worked out. We are not at all trying to push a conservative Christian agenda. So, just so you know, now we can go on with the rest of this question.
Well, that's the full question, but I just wanted to hop over to the comments really fast. And Boshe says, these are fundamental differences. It would take a tremendous amount of compromise to make a union like that work. Yikes. And I agree.
Yeah.
Wholeheartedly. But as far as this question is concerned, I guess the piece with which I was struggling with, I wasn't sure, was the could you be with someone who was pro-mixing but anti-abortion, anti-birth control but pro-interfaith, anti-gay but pro all other human rights? You're open to swirling, but are you also open to different perspectives? Could you... Oh, she says clarify. Thanks. And that's what we're here for, and we're glad you asked. Could you explain for me, unless Piper, then you guys want to jump in and clarify, because I'm, like I said, that's the piece with which I'm struggling. How can one be pro-mixing, anti-abortion, anti-birth control, but pro-interfaith, anti-gay, but pro all other human rights? Did we ever come across as like just anti-anything?
Right. That was my question.
Yeah, that's kind of where we all were a little bit stumped because none of us have necessarily really shared if we did have a belief system. There was nothing that we shared that was anti really anything. I think we've kind of been really open, so maybe we just aren't understanding the question as far as that, because they all seem like some very extreme sort of things,
Yeah, I think
it's like one extreme to a completely other extreme. So we're kind of lost for how to really answer that and give a certain answer when the extremes are so vast and they don't really have much to do with each other.
Well, and I think that the part of the confusion might be in the idea of religion, that you have to fall under a certain belief system. Like if you subscribe to, I don't know, I'm just going to make up a religion, Batmanism, then you have to believe all of these areas of Batmanism. And I think that, like, I have clarified my position here a couple times. I've been hesitant to, just because of the amount of hate you get on YouTube for things like that. But I definitely am a Christian. I'm definitely I lean right. I like to think of myself as a central when it comes to politics. I hate politics, even though I talk about them all the time. I really can't stand politics. But as a Christian, I don't feel like there's a general sense of morality that I think that most of us try to follow, but I think that there's so many different expressions of it that it's hard to classify people. And I know that normally when you think Christian, you would normally go to the traditional version of Christianity. So I don't know. It's just, honestly, I feel like that's a really big area to try to classify people under.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I'm just so everybody knows, I am a Christian.
I'm sorry, Piper. You
I
kind of like went out for a second.
Okay. Am I there now?
Oh yeah, or muffled maybe. Yeah.
Am I muffled now?
No, you're good.
Okay. I'm a Christian. Hi, my name is Piper. I'm a Christian.
Hi, my name is Piper. Hi, Piper.
Hi, Piper.
Hi, I'm a Christian. I've been practicing for my whole life, and I grew up in church. However, I don't know. I wouldn't say that I'm so conservative. I'm just like Danny in the sense that I have not really always stated just right away like what my belief system is and everything like that because it is so judged and I've been so judged on YouTube already that I just try to kind of keep my opinions in that realm to myself, and I have a lot of practice with that because that's life. Not everybody agrees with everything, so you just kind of deal with everything as it comes, and you handle everything with tact, and that's how I handle things. However, I don't necessarily consider myself so conservative or even more so traditional. So I'm pretty open and I believe sort of in the way of, I will not be judging so that I am not judged. So I don't limit myself to, judging other people, or even if I was in a relationship where somebody else was maybe of a different faith. I don't know if I could go completely like atheist Christian because that just would be a little bit extreme because we would have so many things not in common.
Right.
But our belief systems, however, could still fall in line with certain things. A lot of that's kind of where I'm confused with the question because some of those things don't really go hand in hand. So those things, even with though an atheist, let's say, I could still be on par with, and we could still have, like a general idea that we both kind of agree to because gender roles and things are not necessarily strictly a Christian thing or a Christian belief, but I think all of us here kind of identify with that and kind of, agree with that on a level, and, we all are practiced differently. So I think that some of those are just real extreme.
And I think that might be where we gave the perception that we are a Christian-based show is that idea of like we do, all three of us subscribe to like traditional gender roles. We all feel like that's the best way, and so we've been very clear with that in the past. And even when we've talked about choosing someone and dating, like expectations, all of that type of thing, that's been something where we have we've been pretty consistent on. But I think that's more of a traditional belief system and not necessarily something that's supposed to subscribe to a certain order of faith.
Very true. Correct.
Can we go to the comments really fast, guys?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Let's go to the comments.
And now to the comments.
I feel like we're very like somber tonight. Like
I know.
We're like, well, I want to believe. Hold on, let me button up my button.
Happens when we talk about religion.
We're all like stuffy.
I know.
I feel New Jersey Princess says, I feel like you can pick and choose what you want to be, like a Republican.
Which?
Oh, like a Republican witch. Oh, yeah. Beliefs differ from person in certain topics. They may agree with or disagree. So Mike from Oz says, I'm a socialist, but respect the opinions of others. But to be honest, it would be pretty hard to be in a relationship with someone who holds diametrically opposite views of myself. So I guess views are what views as in political views, or I don't know that political views would be a deal breaker for me. But the groundwork would absolutely be a deal breaker. Like your values and, you know, your morals and just, you know, fundamentally who you are as a person and what we both want and what we both want for ourselves and for, you know, for our family and loved ones. Like, to me, that is the basis. That's the groundwork. That's where it starts. And if I believe in apples and you believe oranges, it's not going to work. New Jersey.
I think that.
Oh, please
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, like, Nimi and I were talking about this the other day, and it wasn't about religion or faith or anything. We were talking about veganism, right? We were talking about how, like, one of my brothers, his wife is all full-born vegan, and he's doing it too, begrudgingly. Like, he's going along with it, right? And we were talking about how, like, in relationships, there is an element where if one person believes a certain way really strongly and somebody thinks minorly, right? Like maybe their belief system isn't set up in that, then one person is going to compromise towards the other. Mm-hmm. And like, honestly, like that's what relationships are, is compromise and finding the compromise. But I think like when it comes to some of the examples, well, the examples, like, I'm just gonna be honest, the examples are hard to use in this equation because they're not opposite of each other. Like being pro-mixing but what was pro-mixing but anti-gay, or
pro-mixing but, excuse me guys, I need to scroll back on that. Pro-mixing but anti-abortion.
Yeah, those are like I feel like two completely different topics. So it's hard to put those in the same category, right? Like I know a lot of people that are pro-life and pro-choice, and they're all down with the swirl, right? Like they're cool with the swirl.
Yeah.
But then when it comes to that relationship, like I think that could be one of those things where like you kind of got to line up in that area. Well, and especially if you're extreme if you have not an extreme view, but like if you have a strong view towards a certain thing, then and somebody has a completely opposite view of that, it makes it really difficult. Mm-hmm. But I think Mike talks about that in the comments, so we can go back to the comments.
Oh, sure. New Jersey Princess says, I lean right, but I'm not a Christian. O'Shea says, I think it depends on how salient one's affiliation is to their belief system, or how closely their beliefs align with how they live.
That's very true.
Sure.
Mike says, I agree. I'm sorry, I'm a Quaker, so I can pretty much get along with any faith. Dogmatic people are hard to deal with all around, though. And I think that that is with anything that someone believes wholeheartedly. They become mm-hmm. that person. I think anything can become a religion, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
O'Shea says, I agree, Mike. They can be insufferable and, to be frank, dense. This is true. And
dogmatic people.
We all look on our social media feeds and we all see this. I see, for example, you know, I've got the Bible beaters on my page and it's all about, you know, X, Y, and Z. I've got the Quran beaters on my page. I've got everything that, you know, anything else turns into a religion. I mean, just anything, you know, just too much of anything. I would like to, you know, clear or state mine, because Piper and Danny have. I am not a Christian. I am not of any faith. I am an atheist. Boshe says, so true, D, anything can become a religion.
Even Swirl.
And Danny has, and you know what's funny is when you can have a relationship or friendship, whatever kind of ship with someone where you can have these different views and you're still close, and that person watch your journey to whatever opposite end that they're on, and right. You guys are still, you still love each other, you still respect each other and respect each other's views. And so when people say I'm praying for you or whatever, thank you. It's as simple as that. Thank you. Because I believe you believe that that is what's going to work. And my journey to this point was, it kind of just, it didn't just happen. I was on the road and then, you know, I had a series of events happen in my life. And I'm like, this is just, no. Like all of this praying, all of this, whatever, like this, no. This is not right. This is not it. So that's at a really high level is kind of how it happened. So Mike from Oz says anything, absolutely. Sports, politics, veganism, anything.
Sports is one of the biggest religions in America.
Yeah.
Like, think about it. People spend their entire days going to football games, right?
Or fantasy football.
They spend so much money. They give so much money to their god of football, right? Like, and they go and celebrate. They go and celebrate the god with all the other, you know, people that align in their tribe of of worship, right? And they go, I mean, people actually get depressed when football's over, you know, like
Yeah.
it's crazy. Like football is one of the biggest religions in America. Well, and in politics is too.
I think that the reason we all can kind of coexist and we all get along is that we have very similar views and we're open to each other's the differences. You know, like we hear each other out. I think that with fanatical people from individual faiths and just a different thought process. I mean, just whatever it is, anybody who's fanatical and they're just like, they only hear what they want to hear. They only hear their own opinion. They only hear, that's where those are a little bit harder to make those kind of friendships or relationships or anything work. But I think if everybody's open to each other and everybody's listening to each other and what the other has to say, and you do, like, all of us have a lot of very similar beliefs about several things, and our religion may be different, but our thought process is dead on, you know? So I think that that's just also because I don't think Danny or myself or even Dee is fanatical about to the point where it's just like, I can only hear me and I don't hear anything anyone else says because I have these beliefs and nobody else's, you know, ideas are going to infiltrate my already decided mind. Like, you know, I think that's the thing.
You're gonna beat you over the head with the stick.
Yeah, like I think we're all just open and we're open to hearing each other out, and we share a lot of very similar ways to live your life views.
And we're also not like we all value each other's relationship more than we value being right. And I think like part of the problem that's going on right now is like social media is so easy, and we've known this for years because it started with YouTube. It didn't start with Facebook. It just, this last election cycle, like people became polarized, right? Like they got forced into a corner, and they would force themselves into a corner, but people would people that were cool with each other, right? Like I saw a video this week where this girl was like, y'all were dating in high school and like now you guys are at each other's throats. Like you used to like each other's Facebook posts, and now you guys all you do is argue. It's something where we care more about the relationship than being right. And I think that's a huge thing when dealing with someone that may believe differently than you, that is not always upheld in just having that mutual respect for one another and for the friendship.
Right.
Yeah.
And so if you don't have that, then it becomes immediately drawing a line in the sand and dividing between between two different beliefs.
That is the brick and mortar of who we are and our friendships. And that should be the brick and mortar of any relationship where you've got opposing views. Not even opposing, just different.
Yeah.
It's different.
Because opposing implies that there's some, I don't know, something behind it, kind of a negative annotation. So Alex Champ says, I'm glad to see you in this year again.
Shut your mouth, bro.
Burn.
All tea.
Okay. Where's my umbrella? I see the shade. But yes,
I know,
we're glad to
right?
be here. Boshe says, can we discuss the fear religion instills in some folks and how it guides their decision making, even if they're not religious? We tend to equate religious affiliation with morality.
Yep.
I don't. Yes.
That's huge. That's big.
Okay. Reread the question because
agnostics and whatever else is out there, and I guess are often told that they lack something because they don't have the threat of a hell or whatever like lingering over them. But that's untrue. And Alex says, I thought it was going to be 2018, 2019.
funny. Everybody's got jokes.
We got jokes. We are here. But I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. But like I said, atheists and agnostics don't have that fear of whatever lingering over them to be, to make sound decisions and judgments in their lives and to be a good person. I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever seen that meme where it talks about or has a photograph of Mr. Rogers and it's saying that he didn't Bible beat you and he still taught, about love and acceptance and things like that. Boshe says that was a good one. Okay, you guys are going in on the gym here, but
funny.
Jamie, so what are your thoughts on how religion instills fear?
Yeah. Honestly, I'm still thinking on it. Like, I think,
Or tending to equate religious affiliation with morality?
yeah, I definitely do that. I definitely equate morality to religious. I definitely do that.
But
I
that's
don't
the
mean
conditioning
to.
of religion.
Right. I don't mean to, and I don't try to. And it's not in a sense of morality. Honestly, like I'm more frustrated when people of faith don't live that faith that they proclaim.
Okay.
Right. So, like even the other day, I was talking to a pastor of a church that is predominantly one shade of people, and he was saying how frustrated he was that they were having more baby showers than they were having wedding showers, and that like kind of struck me. Like that was something I sat with for a while. I was like, why are we like if we're professing this is how you should live your life, why are we not living up to that? So I kind of have a problem with hypocrisy in faith more than I do people that are outside, because my belief system is that there is a God, that He's a loving God, and that He'll be drawn to by our love for one another, that people will be drawn to Him, and that doesn't happen when we live hypocritical lives. But then I look at myself and I'm like, but I'm a hypocrite too. Every day I'm a hypocrite. Like every day
and everybody. Right.
I proclaim to live this life that I don't live. I try my best to, but I just not. I don't know. That's a huge question, and the idea of fear, fear that religion instills in folks. I would say, like in specifically and with people of faith, like I run into people like that all the time, that are that are in their particular faith system because they're scared of an end result, right? They're scared of hell, so they're Christian. That's stupid. Like it really is. Like in my opinion, that's like the dumbest um, reason to be a Christian, and that's probably based on my experience and my walk, my faith that I've had. That I feel Christianity is so much more than um, the afterlife. Like that is the furthest thing in my mind when I proclaim Christianity. Like the afterlife is not even a thought. It's really about how my life is lived today. And yes, I do my best to follow by a set of um, guidelines, um, but living based on what's going to happen to me after I die is honestly, in my opinion, so elementary. Like it's such a minor detail. So I feel like people that are in a position of religion based upon a place of fear are weak-minded people that haven't like processed through life really like processed through the details of it. Does
But
that
who's to
that's
say
a
that?
lot of rambling.
Well, who's to say that? And this isn't directed towards you, Danny, specifically, or Piper, because we know where we stand. But who's to say that morals come from God?
Right.
Did we have a chat? Did he tell you himself?
Yeah. It was on the live stream
And then what
before.
about the different religions where um, you can have Christianity and there's different sects, and so you have different morals.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, it's all just a big hodgepodge of what ifs and what have you. What have you. Piper, did you want to tackle that, or should we go to the comments?
Um, well, I will just try to sum it up real quick, I think, because I think a lot the way Danny does. However, I have known like, I mean, I've known people of all different walks because I at one point was researching all sorts of things when I went through my phase of, am I sure I'm a Christian or am I Christian just because I was raised in church and I was supposed to be Christian. I was supposed to have these certain views, but are those really my views? I went through a little phase like that where, I mean, I studied, I did a lot of study into different religions and to the Mormon faith and into Buddhist and into, I mean, just literally everything. And everybody, I think at the end of the day, whether you're religious or not, whether you have faith or not, people are always are trying to be the best version of themselves. Whether that is um, because they have a God that they follow, or they have gods that they follow, or whether they have, a bald little man with a chubby man with a smiley face they follow, like whatever the case may be, everybody kind of has this fundamental idea, like, do not do certain things, do not hate other people, do not. So I kind of think that, everybody, it's not just Christians and it's not just people of religious backgrounds have morals, or I see them as being more moral. I think along the same lines as Danny is I don't like the hypocrisy, but also I always say that I'm a work in progress. I'm not perfect and I'm not supposed to be. So I don't expect anybody else to be perfect as well. So I feel like, I'm not being a hypocrite. I am trying to live the way that I am supposed to, but I'm going to fail because I am an imperfect person. I'm human and I sin, and that's just that. But everybody sins, and I don't look at somebody else's sin as bigger than mine, and I don't look at mine as bigger than theirs or less than theirs because I have faith and I believe in God and I believe in hell. I mean, that's like people saying, "Well, I never loved anybody because I was afraid of heartache," or I never married anybody because I was afraid of divorce. I mean, it's kind of like I would not be a Christian because I was afraid to go to hell because that would be living a life completely in fear all the time. You're just afraid of everything. Like I would be afraid to even step outside my door if that's the case. So I guess like Danny, I believe it has to be so much more, because I live in a place where um, I celebrate God on my terms, and is I celebrate Him. I don't go, oh my gosh, He's going to send me to hell. Did I do this today? Oh no, I'm going to hell. It's not like that. So I think if people are really only Christians because they are afraid to go to hell, that's a real slippery slope, because that means everything you do, you're doing it with the wrong heart. You're doing that with the wrong intentions. And so even if you're following to a T, the Bible and everything that's listed, you're really setting yourself up for failure, because you're not in the right headspace while you're doing it. You're not in the headspace of doing these things because, you believe you're doing these things because you're just afraid you don't want to go to hell. And that's really sad, because you're just not in the right frame of mind. So I actually have seen so many people who have faith and religion and pastors and everything go downhill real quick, um, because of their hypocrisy, and they're living this hypocritical
Hippocratic
life.
oath.
Yep,
They're
hypocritical
all
life.
doctors.
They're living this hypocritical life where they're like, living a double life, like they're two people. I mean, I think we've all probably heard of priests and, pastors and all these people, and people do look to them and think, oh, you're supposed to be so moral. Well, to me, I'm like, they were all human too. So, they it kind of comes with the territory. They're still a work in progress, and some of them are a lot of work in progress. So you just kind of, that's the way I look at it personally. I don't view somebody just because they have religion as more moral than someone who maybe doesn't have religion, but they're doing things, they're living the same set of morals, just without the fear of God and the fear of hell and all that. I mean, to me, I just don't, one doesn't have anything to do with the other, in my opinion.
Okay.
I think that one of the things that Piper said that was like really key is um, everyone everyone has a belief system that they follow, right? Everyone has a faith that they follow, and some of them call it God, and some of them don't. But everyone has a kind of a system that they guide their life by, and a lot of that comes from like our conscience, right? Like, but a lot of that is environment, a lot of that is conditioning, and so I think that's where people fall into the trap of don't do this or you'll burn in hell as a fear. That's an environment thing. That's like, you know, don't don't take that cookie or you're going to be grounded. Like it's that's basically what it boils down to. Like that's such it's just a small, like it's such a, I don't know, it's really hard to describe. It's a small perspective to have when it comes to particularly Christianity, of having that don't touch that cookie or you're grounded. Like that's what it boils down to, is don't live a bad life or you're going to burn in hell. Exact same thing as don't take that cookie or you're going to be in trouble. And so, but I think everyone kind of lives in that space, and they've been somehow conditioned. And it really takes somebody to look at your life and believe. And I think all three of us have done this at some point in our life. And most of the audience right now that's on here, most of you guys in the chat have done this, where you kind of look at your life and you go, am I believing this because I believe this, or am I believing this because I've been told to believe this? And um,
Programming.
I don't think that's being woke, mainly because I hate that word woke. But but it's
It's
just
the
it's
wrong
it's
form of
it's
the word.
looking at your life and going, why do I have this set of beliefs? And then you kind of poke holes in it, and that's where I feel, for me, faith, my Christian faith holds true, as I've poked holes. I've poked holes and I'm still floating, right? I'm poked holes all over this boat to question, to see, to test it, and I'm still floating. And that's why I am where I am.
And I'm on the opposite end of that too. I poked and poked and poked and then broke out of the bubble. And I'm still standing.
Yeah.
So nice. New York City Indian says, or asks, what happens when your partner suddenly takes a major atheistic turn and you're already married? Converts can be the most enthusiastic. Would you divorce?
Dude, I'm just saying, like, atheists like to talk about
She's
atheists.
very extreme.
Atheists like to talk about God more than Christians, I think.
I do think that's true.
So you're already married. Converts can be the most enthusiastic. Would you divorce? So I guess you could use veganism too as that. Like, you're vegan. You're a terrible person because you eat meat. I'm divorcing you.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, if Nimi told me tomorrow,
A
hey, I'm
theist or atheist. So either or. But
okay.
yeah, Amy, I would like to hear your.
If Nimi told me tomorrow she was an atheist, I would not divorce her. Like, I wouldn't divorce her.
Well, why wouldn't you divorce her?
Because I have a commitment to her. I made a commitment to her that overpowers that, and I would believe. Well, first of all, I have a hard time seeing that happen all of a sudden. I feel like it would be a
Gradual. You'd see it
it would
change.
be there would be an adjustment. It wouldn't be like, all of a sudden. Sudden, and that's where it suddenly takes a major, right, turn. I don't know that happens, and if that does happen, like, shame on me for being a horrible husband to not notice that happening or happening in that place and not say, hey, time out. What is this belief that you're changing everything and not being able to be there for my wife in a time where she's questioning, where she's searching. That would be like, I would be an asshole for that. Like, I would
That's
not
beautiful,
be a good
Danny.
husband.
And that's beautiful. And you've done that as like family, because we consider each other family.
Right.
And you've done that for B as well. Mike Vermont says, Demi is awesome. Oh God, wherever we don't. Of course you wouldn't
She is.
divorce
She's
her,
amazing.
but
And
that's
she's
like
probably
super extreme. So it's just like
I think Mimi's in the chat. Guys, I think Mimi's on right now, so that's why I'm being like extra careful.
Crochet says, I would hope that my spouse would want to invite me in their journey would invite me in their journey in their turn. I don't think my spouse would make a major turn without my involvement.
Right.
But if this isn't about you, it's about them and what they feel internally. Either way, it's best for them. I'm not understanding where your involvement would come.
I think that what they're saying is that you would have to be a terrible, like completely self-centered spouse or partner of somebody to not notice that they're going through something that's taking them on this journey, that's changing them. Like, because that's a really big thing to be married. You're both Christian or whatever. Let's say you're both Christian. You're walking along married, and then out of nowhere, bam! They wake up. They're like, "Hey, I'm atheist today."
Or the opposite.
I mean, I
or
think
the opposite. Two atheists walking together, and all of a sudden, one person's a Christian.
Yeah,
like
one's
all
a
of a
Christian.
Sudden.
I think that's something that just doesn't happen all of a sudden.
I feel like that's a question
I
feel like that's a question that's specifically targeting against Christians, because I don't feel like an atheist would have that same type of dilemma in life if all of a sudden their spouse was a Christian, a Bible-beating Christian. I don't feel like it's I feel like the presumption is the moralistic portion is, oh, well, you can't be with somebody that's not a Christian. But I think you turn the tables and two atheists and one becomes a Christian, it isn't the same type of a difference, right? Like, that's a definitely question that is opposing a Christian couple, that one turns away from a faith, as opposed to an atheist couple where one turns away from or turns to a faith. The response, it doesn't go, when you think through it, you go, oh yeah, a Christian should probably get rid of, they probably shouldn't be with that person, when you look at it in that manner. But that's not the response that I would have at all.
Yeah. I mean, I was talking to my sister about this actually the other day because we know someone who was married for a long time and they became a Christian while their spouse, their husband, was not and doesn't go to church and doesn't believe at all. And I was like, how does how did they work that out? And they're like, well, they were together when they both were not. They know each other well, and they were together. When they both were at their, you know, totally not in church, totally not. They were all, they were in the streets basically, and so they have so much history and so much care for each other that the one who turned to God, like they're able to still make that work because again, it didn't just happen like suddenly. This person was just unrecognizable. I don't think that's, if you're a decent spouse, you're going to notice this fundamental change, whether, no matter which way it goes, you're going to notice that
I don't,
that's happening.
but I don't think the whole "would you notice the change in your spouse" thing was the question.
But I mean, but yeah, that's what I'm
No,
saying is
but there
that
was the
Right.
to
question
make
was
make the jump to divorce, you'd have to, that'd be like a really big, that's a really big extreme to take, like, oh well, they changed suddenly, so we're getting divorced. And it's just like
the
usually
the
people
question
don't hop
was
into marriage that way. They don't hop in so willy-nilly so that they're just like, oh well, any minor infraction and I'm out. They don't
Right.
really do that. So I think that that's why I think it's going on the whole, it wouldn't be an abrupt change. So there wouldn't be any, one day we're married, the next we're divorcing because you stopped believing or you chose to believe. It's like
Right.
I would have noticed you stopping. I would have noticed you choosing. So we would have had dialogue prior to ever getting to the extreme of now I gotta divorce you. Like
But
that wouldn't happen.
if one is, I don't know, agnostic, atheist, whatever the labels are, where you're just like, whatever the labels are, um, and your spouse is, opposite, a believer, and whatever, would you? Would that change? So the believer versus the now new non-believer.
mhm.
If that person, the non-believer, doesn't, they haven't changed in terms of, you know, fundamentally the person that they are and how they
Right.
treat you and how they, approach life, and they just no longer believe. Would that constitute a separation or a divorce? I mean,
No.
I guess, in
We're both like, no.
three, we're running around, I mean, and to me, it's almost like, yeah, you don't have to believe in a God, but that doesn't make you that means you don't believe in a devil either. So, like, what is it that's, I guess, eliciting this change that would warrant a divorce if you were going opposite
I don't think for
to a
me, and
non-believer? Because I've seen where it's been on the opposite train, where the person was a non-believer, or just not even a non-believer. They just weren't, I guess, active within their religion. I've seen it with Christians. I've seen it with Muslims. One spouse or one, part of the partnership is Islam. The other is Christianity. That doesn't work. Or I've got where they're both like, well, he or she believes whatever. I believe what I believe. It doesn't play a major role in our marriage or our relationship. I've seen where most of the time it's the black woman who's the Christian and the black husband is not. He couldn't care less.
Yeah.
He doesn't go to church. He doesn't do any of that. Like he's
Very
just like,
true.
whatever, I'll see you when you get back. So I guess where is it that it changes the person to the point where you cannot be with them? Where's that line?
And I think as long as they weren't forcing whatever they've chosen to believe or not believe down my throat, I don't think that I could. I mean, they'd have to become fanatical for me to be like, oh, this marriage isn't working anymore. Like, you just keep trying to burn all our Bibles. Or, like I would, like if it was something fanatical and drastic and they just were
Yeah.
so outside of who I had been married to that I just couldn't even see that person I fell in love with anymore, then that to me is a huge issue. But if everything stayed the same, and they literally have just decided, like, after some soul searching, like, you know what, I don't believe this anymore. It would just take more than that to get me to walk away from the marriage. If I truly love them, then I'm praying for them, whether they believe in it or not. I'm still going to pray for them. I'm still going to be just as devoted as I always was, and just like they're being just as devoted as they always were. They just have a different, thought process. They've come out of that. But if we're still on that same track and everything's the same way, I'll see you when I get back from church. Like whatever.
My grandparents are that way. My grandpa was really good friends with the pastor when my mom was a kid, and somehow something happened with their friendship, and my mom said all of a sudden she has no idea what happened. He just stopped going to church, stopped caring about any of the Christian stuff, and my grandparents have been married for like 60 plus years. Like they're both in their 80s. And both of them, and my grandma is like, I mean, Dee, you met her at my wedding. Like, she's like one of the most Christian ladies I've ever known. Like, she's super Christian. And I remember as a kid going to prayer groups with her and hearing her pray for my grandpa that, that he would come back to the faith or back in the fold or however old people say it. But, and then my grandpa eventually did, 60 some odd years later, like he started going to church with her, and she loves it that he's going to church. And he's like, man, I wasted so much time not spending this time with you, and now I get to spend this time with you, so.
His grandma is so freaking cute, you guys. Oh my gosh, she's so freaking cute.
She's sweet. She's not at all the like Christian lady that's like mean to everyone. She's like the really nice, like really polite, really kind. Never wants to say anything that would be inappropriate or cause someone to be. Yeah, just a tiny little lady too.
She is so tiny. She's so freaking cute and just sharp. She's so cute. Yeah. So, do we want to go to the comments?
We got a lot of comments.
Yeah. Okay. If your wife says, I want to become Muslim, like my mom, for example, and then 3 years later wants you to take another wife, that's not extreme, but it's a norm for some in Islamic traditions. Yeah, but they can't do that if the wife is not consenting. He can't take on another wife. So is he going to leave?
Right.
Yeah, I studied Islam. I was very close to converting, but I was like, no, I'm not covering up my hair. It ain't happening. I was so big. I had studied Jehovah's Witness, and this was all like early 20s, late teens, early 20s, because I was just surrounded by so many different, religions and just people. I mean, that's what my high school was like. That people say that usually happens once they go to like college. For me, it was like high school because it just was a melting pot. It was awesome. So by the time I got to school, I was like, oh, maybe I'll try this. You go into those phases. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll try that. And so that's actually when I stopped eating pork. But I was like, no, I did. I stopped eating pork. And then I was like, yeah, I want to do it. And then I was like,
I had ribs the other night.
No, I don't want to cover up. I'm like, nah. So then I just never ate pork again. But I was like, nah, I can't do that.
Couldn't do it, man. I love
and then
bacon way too much.
I was like, I'm not about that standing outside or knocking on people's doors. No. And then you're going to shun me and stuff. So I went through the whole whatever. But as far as that question goes, the wife has to say yes in order for the husband to do that, to take on another wife.
Alex Champ says, if you want to take another wife, you have to take care of them. If you don't have much money, you can't have a few wives. Yep. Also, you can't marry a few wives in countries where you can only have one wife only.
Well, yeah, and here in America, definitely.
Yeah.
You can only have one wife.
Regardless of what the Mormons will say.
Right.
Sister wives.
And they can take on, they can go, in front of the imam and stuff. They can take on as many as they want, but there's only one Mrs. So-and-so in the eyes of the law.
Right.
So Mike says, "Oh man, but pork is so good though."
It is. It's so good.
Yeah, I've not eaten pork since 1997.
Pork is amazing.
I'm good.
I'm a vegetarian.
That's my religion. No pork, no beef.
So Deshay said, well, this is where we get into extremes. What I mean by that is I'm totally attentive to my husband. Did we already read this?
No.
I'm totally attentive to my husband. I would notice a change like that. It would not be overnight.
Oh, yeah, totally. I think I mentioned that we weren't, I guess, specifically talking about noticing a change, but what would happen with that change? You know, if it changed them fundamentally at the core, and they just became, you guys no longer shared the same, you know, morals and such.
See, I don't know how many morals. Like, I mean, even between Islam and Christianity, I don't know how many, when it gets down to morals, what some of the differences are. Like, right. I just don't know, like, when you get down to that level. Like, there's style differences, and then obviously there's dogmatic beliefs. There's theologian beliefs that fall in line with that, and that's the stuff that winds up in deciding. Like, honestly, the differences are the things that decide how you worship.
Holy shit, that's lightning. Dude, I'm like, what the hell is that? And I'm like, dude, this guy, I'm sorry.
That's all right. But that decides, that's kind of one of those end game, like, right, where you wind up. And if you're worried about where you wind up, then, like, your faith is small. Mike from Oz says, I get the best Chinese char siu near me, and it's heaven, but I respect your choice.
Oh, gosh.
See, we're making food religion right now.
I'm a vegetarian. I haven't eaten pork in forever. I don't eat beef either. So
what am I doing on this show with you guys? Like,
no swine for the mind. And
one of you eats chicken and fish, the other doesn't.
Every year. I host Thanksgiving for my family every year, and it's a pork-free zone. Everyone knows it. And then, like, at our family functions, they know, like, give me that.
How do you do greens without bacon?
Why would I want bacon in my greens?
Because bacon is amazing.
Growing up, it just said that.
I want bacon in everything.
It's not like I didn't eat it. You know, I ate everything from the rooter to the tutor. I just choose not to now. No beef, no pork. But you accommodated us, Danny.
I did.
No wine for the mind. So let me see. New York City Indian also asked on our last show, Danny, you and I are food bros, says Mike.
We are, man. Definitely. Most definitely. Dude, LA has the bacon covered hot dogs. Like, those are the best.
I hate when people do that. Fattening. I'm like, why would you mess up a good turkey burger and put some damn swizzle on it?
Because it's awesome.
I'm like, why?
That's my second favorite type of swirl.
It drives me nuts. It'll be like, oh, this amazing salad. And it'll have like everything that I need in life. And then they want to add bacon. And I'm like, what? That's not healthy anymore. So it's a struggle. But like turkey bacon is a thing out there. I didn't think it would be, but the turkey option is good. So, smoked turkey necks. Yeah. We use smoke. Actually, I don't put meat in mine anymore, but I use a chicken broth and some chicken bouillon cubes.
What about marrow? Love me some marrow.
You love marrow?
Yeah.
Alex says, I dated one girl that was crazy on religion. I was listening to prayers about Jesus even before sleep on Skype. Wow. You can see Jesus even when you're sleeping. Oh, man, it's too much for me.
Well, I don't think that's like a fanatical to me, because I hate being drugged into a sermon that I didn't ask for. Like when people come up to me and then they suddenly start preaching, and I'm like, "Whoa! I just asked how you were doing today. Like, how did we get here?"
The
That's just
Lord said that you need to reach your hand out here.
When you're a black woman, they automatically presume that you're a Christian.
Yeah. Yes, and they want to tell you everything in the world.
Yep.
The Lord Jesus has a wonderful plan for your life today.
He's like a handyman or something, and we were at the tire place, and he was like inviting me to his church, and I'm like, oh, no, thank you. I was just trying to be polite, and he was being pushy.
Yep.
And I'm like, no, thank you. I was like, I'm a devil worshiper, and he's like, well, I can convert you. He like gave me. He had 2 cards. One because he's like a deacon or something, and then the other he's like, you know, I fix stuff too. And then he's like, no, you come and check it out. And I'm like, I was fucking with him. And I'm like, no, I worship the devil. And then he's like, oh no. He was like, yeah, you should come.
So this one time,
you don't take no for you.
This one time,
that's like those pushy men who try to like get your number on the streets.
They're trying to get you Jesus.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm looking for. I'm listening. I'm looking for.
One time, my dad and I were working outside and doing like a ton of yard work and like heavy stuff. Like we were chopping down a tree and everything, like big time, like pain in the butt stuff. And my dad's all complaining. He's grumbling. He's like, nobody ever helps me. Nobody ever comes over here and helps us. Like, get to it. Like he's all mad because I'm like tired. He's like, these Mormon kids walk up and they're like, hey, can we help you with something? My dad immediately becomes like Mr. Rogers. Oh, hey guys, how you doing? Wonderful to see you. Oh no, we got it all on our own. We're good. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming by. And they left and we're like, my mom and I were both working at him. We're looking at him like, are you kidding me? Like, do you know what you've been complaining about this whole time? That nobody ever comes and helps you? Then these 2 nice Mormon dudes come up to help us. They could have helped us a lot. Yeah.
Can we read the second set of questions?
Yeah.
Or question?
Really quick though, I want to say Mike from Oz says, "Oh man, that's like talking about your guy, your demon caster outer guy."
Yeah.
Converter. He said, "Oh man, that's like a theological version of a dude saying to a lesbian,
entitlement.
I could convert you."
The entitlement, and to think that you're going to convert me. It's like, are you serious? Fucking male entitlement, man.
Yeah.
What I find most refreshing about I'm sorry. I like completely skipped the line. So in our last show, we talked about traveling and how, just different places that are next on my list. And Copenhagen is next on my list for travel, hopefully next year. So New York City Indian says, Copenhagen sounds exciting. Lots of eligible Vikings. You may come back with a marriage proposal. What I find most refreshing about the Scandinavian societies is that they are very secular. None of that religiosity to muddy up and complicate relationships, which is another reason interracial dating is no big deal over there. Well, I'd like to speak to that as someone who's not religious. You're saying it muddies up and complicates relationships. But if you're with someone who's like-minded, believes the same as you, it wouldn't. Would you agree with that, Piper and Danny?
Yes. All of a sudden you went, wait, am I still on here?
Yeah, I was about to say, what the hell happened?
Go ahead, Piper.
No, I just, I don't know. I think that it wouldn't muddy up my relationship because I would make sure we had some stuff in common. So I wouldn't necessarily just get together with somebody and be like, all right, they're just constantly like browbeating me with religion. So
well, you're available.
Like Alex, you're on Skype and they're praying on Skype.
Yeah, yeah, that's overkill. I'd be like, I didn't sign up for this, but like I want my money back. I want off this train. I don't want to be on here anymore. But I don't know. I don't think that, like I said, it wouldn't be a problem for me because I would already make sure that wasn't an issue prior to us ever getting together.
Right. I mean, I think like so when I met Nimi, one of the things that like we talked about, and the thing that she was like really happy about was that I was a person of faith. And when we met, that was like a top priority to find out, okay, is this person an eligible person? Let's figure out if we line up together, right? On important belief systems. And we would utilize our Christian faith, but at the same point, like I know there's a lot of whack, crazy Christians out there.
Yeah.
And so we like I had to make sure she wasn't one of those crazy Christians like throwing snakes around and stuff. So we
What?
you haven't heard of those Christians? They
No.
pick up like poisonous snakes because they have faith that God will
Yeah, that
not
God's
let them
not let
not let the snake bite them, and if it does, the poison will not kill them.
It's not going to kill them. They are
And that
crazy.
most of them die by snake bites. And they're also the same type of weird Christians that don't believe in hospitals. So,
Yeah. They're also the same type of Christians that believe that they drink a certain juice and wear Nikes and they're swoosh.
you can get the UFO to heaven behind Hale-Bopp.
Exactly.
No, so like there's a level of figuring out, is this person compatible with you in your belief system? The easy thing to say is, are you Christian? That's the easy thing to say. Are you Christian? But are you Christian doesn't answer the question, right? Are you Christian doesn't answer the deeper questions of compatibility. And so I think even with that, like, I don't know how faith and secularism or any of that adds up in that. You guys following what I'm saying?
No, I'm with you.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. With regard to the snake throwing, I'm a nurse, and you guys, and I see a lot of this. I'm assuming you see the bites and all of the folks that come in. Well, if they come in to you because their faith didn't allow them to not get it. I'm just trying to understand this and how that works.
They failed the test.
They are not good at their version of faith.
Yeah, their faith was shaken. Which is so sad, but yes, their faith gets shook.
Religion is like fashion for this girl, but if you look at her, you'll never believe that she believes in God. What does believing God look like?
Yeah, I don't know what that looks like.
You'll have
Apparently it doesn't look like me because people have said, "You're Christian?" I had no idea, as if that was
nice.
I'm like, what am I walking around like?
I mean, refusing blood transfusions.
Oh yeah, that's a big serious thing.
Yes, that's a big thing.
That's a thing though that was in the 80s too, with the AIDS epidemic. The AIDS hysteria, people were scared to get blood transfusions.
Oh well, yeah, but that wasn't religious based. That was
no. But I think it seeped into that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, make 100 selfies of her ass. Oh, all right,
Alex. I'm concerned with the choice of women you're finding here.
Your choice of women is disturbing.
It's not a great thing. Mike from Oz says Snake Handler's whole thing is based off one line from the Bible. It's weird. Yeah, it is. It's super weird.
Yeah, it is. It's very crazy.
But if you ever want to watch a documentary of some rednecks, man, just look up snake handling. They're normally backwoods country folk that believe that God created the Remington 530 to fend off the homosexuals and the dinosaurs.
And the dinosaur.
Guys, how come I reference Mean Girls every day of my life? What does that say about me?
You should stop watching them.
Oh, I love Deshay, I love you. He said, you can be religious and take ass shots. Since when are those things opposite?
They're not mutually exclusive.
I remember a guy said, I'll never forget. He's deceased now, but he said the biggest hoes he found were in church.
That's probably
Yep,
true.
that is true. The pastor's daughter, the biggest freak.
Guys, the
That is.
sky is opening up. This lightning is serious. I'm actually a little concerned. I'm sorry if I seem distracted.
Your video is going fuzzy too.
Yeah, it's. I mean, legit.
Is
because
this
it
because
wasn't.
we're talking about religion? All of a sudden, you got lightning.
Yeah, legit,
D, it's never
guys.
too late.
Come back.
Just bow your head and close your eyes with me. It's never too late.
Like the
The
sky
hour is now.
opening up. Oh gosh.
See you later, Kevin Smith.
Thank you. Jesus is a baby killer.
Kevin Smith is blocked.
Yes. Wow. Thanks, Kevin.
Hey, that's the first time we've got a troll live.
Yeah, we
I
should have kept
know.
him on.
I
I
think
know.
the
We
last
should
one
have
we
messed
had,
with them.
we were told to eat a dick. Oh, you guys. So, sorry.
People are so creative.
Oh gosh. So I think, well, what she basically says here again is, I think we've kind of covered that too. And it's like, having said all of that, I would like to know where you stand on meeting a dated potential life partner who doesn't participate in religion. For me, that'd be right up my alley. Could you ladies ever find yourselves in a relationship that, as such, with an atheist, and so on and so on? Piper, I think you've made your stance on this as well.
Yeah. I
Oh,
just,
but you did
for
say
me,
something. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
an atheist it would just be. I think here's the problem for me with just like being together with an atheist is that we would have had a really hard time getting together for us to become partners because like there may be so many things that I like would do that they already like don't like we would just not like each other really. However, if they had like all my fundamental beliefs and just the only thing that was left out of it for them was like, okay, but I don't believe in God or hell or anything like
Right.
that. I mean, I just don't know. I really can't say like, okay, I know I can't predict the future. I can't say, oh well, we would have everything in common, but I'm turning them down because they're atheists. But I also couldn't say if they have absolutely zero belief system, we could make it work. Like it just would be really hard to me to make it work because they don't believe in anything. They don't believe in unicorns, rainbows. I mean, like they gotta have something for us. We gotta start. We have some belief system. So I think that would just be something we didn't. I don't think they'd purposely seek me out, and I don't think I'd purposely seek them out. So it'd have to really be like a match put together by God for me to be like, okay, well, let's get together. So
Well,
you
in
don't
the
believe in
Bible,
anything,
What, Penny?
and
I
we'd
was
be unequally yoked.
no, I was just say in the Bible, there's a story of a prophet that dates a prostitute, that marries a prostitute.
Well, if it happened there, it can happen anywhere.
She says she understands you.
It just
I, don't know, I
I would
think
just be
that.
really shocked that we'd get together. Like if we got together and they became my partner, it would really have had to have been meant to be because I think that they would not be able to stand me for certain reasons that like they would be like, oh, this girl all the time. Like they'd never get to the point of dating me. So I think if we did get to that, then it was meant to be. It's written in the stars. So let's go.
Mhm. Danny?
I have before I met Nimi, I dated a couple girls that weren't Christian. It was always difficult. There was always things that were difficult, and just a sense of understanding my commitment and my faith. Like that was something that was hard. But it's not something that it would. I obviously, if I dated them, it wasn't something that I was completely opposed to. So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
it was just there were, and maybe it was cultural because even though living two Americans living in America, like even Californians, maybe it was there was a culture and religion that made it difficult too. and a not understanding of why I do or don't do certain things, you know.
Okay. I'd like to just kind of finish what you said because she brought up, what about raising children with an opposite? Which is
So
actually what I'm doing now.
yeah.
My daughter is in Christian private school. She's been there since first grade. She'll be 12. So, like I said, this journey has been quite some time. Um, we haven't had. She's heard me say things here and there, but for me, I needed her to be in a space that I felt was safe and intimate, and it's set because, of course, when I sent her, then I was a believer back then, and then it just was for both of us. It was a great place for her to be, and so when as she grows and she'll decide what she wants to do and who she wants to serve, and then I'll be in complete support of that either way. But she's aware of my thoughts and my feelings. I guess you could say too, you could kind of relate that to biracial children. Like, why do they have to choose a side?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and I think honestly, I mean, I think in a relationship, we talked about this earlier. We referenced veganism. I think one person compromises more than the other, and I think like if you have a Jewish family and a Christian family, you see this all the time. Catholic and a Protestant family, the person that is more devout, the kids tend to follow with that, and the person that isn't as devout, it doesn't bother them in the sense of they're not doing something that's harmful to the children. Like if you were talking about the difference between a Christian and a Satan worshiper, a Satan worshiper that believes in human sacrifice, I think that you would have something to step up to say, okay, we need to put this in check. And I know, trust me, YouTube, trust me, world. I know Satan worshippers don't believe in human sacrifice. I know. I've studied Satan worshippers. I know that you guys are like really more about pluralism than anything else. So don't worry. I understand.
He's just giving an example, an extreme example.
All right, guys, we're gonna wrap this up for a number of reasons. This lightning is real, and
it keeps flashing. I can see it now on your screen.
Dude, it's like the sky is legit lighting up, and I do not want to be a target.
Do you guys know Batman watches Love and Swirl?
That's interesting.
So we want to thank you, New York City Indian, for your questions. We appreciate you, and we hope that we've clarified some things for you. It's been a challenging topic of conversation.
But a good challenge. But
we didn't want to not do it. That's why, like, even though we've had problems the last couple weeks, and last week was totally my fault, guys. I'm so sorry. But we didn't want to just end it. We wanted to make sure that we did talk about this. We did do this show. It was important, and it was important that all three of us were here for it too.
Yeah, definitely. And our next show, we're going to talk about YouTubers.
Because there has been an uprising in all these interracial swirl relationships and YouTube channels and new YouTube couples and everything. So we are going to break into that.
And that might take a couple shows to do.
Yes, because there is like 3 pages worth of new YouTube couples who are now all about vlogging every day and everything. So just like we've always done our, favorite YouTubers and stuff like that. I'm not going to say that these are all favorites, but I'm putting the list and giving it out so that everybody can check them out. And we will show over some time everybody who's new in the world and maybe turn you guys on to new people to watch or not watch.
Yeah, and we're sure that you guys will be in the comments and turn us on to people who we've not heard about.
Yep.
Exactly.
And we're not talking
I
about
have been researching.
one-timer videos or
Yes, we
time.
don't
We said
do that. If they've only
14-year-olds.
Pretty
Yeah.
consistent.
Yeah,
Pretty
no young couples, no people who have just one video, they did that, and then they don't have any other videos. No, I don't even consider them for this particular area. These are just people who vlog regularly or who are, beginning to do regularly, and they've got at least a few videos under their belt before I decided like they should be featured on any level.
Yeah, and Piper and Danny decided to break them up. You get the African, Caribbean, you get the military grouping.
The
trying to get it like an index or a table of contents.
Seasoned swirlers, the older couples.
Yes.
Isn't it great though when you see an older couple together out in public?
It's awesome. You just wow.
Nimi and I saw a couple the other day, and we tried to get their attention. They were not paying attention. They got in their car before we could wave them down. We were like, "What should we ask them? I don't know. Let's ask them how long they've been together." Okay, that sounds great. Like, oh, they're already in their car. They're already driving away.
Yeah, I love it when I see them. I always give like a little nod, like yes, like we see eye to eye. It's awesome. And where I am
we're
now,
excited about that. We'll be back September 5th.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Isn't that Labor Day?
That seems
Labor Day?
Super early.
That is Labor Day. Then we'll be back September.
Oh, that's 2 weeks though.
12th.
That's my birthday.
That's your birthday. Then we'll be back before 2018.
So,
well,
we
can do the 6th? Isn't it a Tuesday?
No, yeah, the 5th is a Tuesday, not Labor Day.
Yeah, because Labor Day's on a Monday.
That's on the 4th.
So,
can we do the 5th or the 6th, Wednesday?
5th works for me.
Are you sure?
5th works for me.
Tuesdays work for me.
Nice. Okay.
The 5th works for me, so I'm on board.
The 6th will probably work for me too. What about you guys? What works for you guys?
I know. What works for everybody out there?
But Pipes, it's up to Pipes.
NJ Princess says, catch you guys on the next eclipse.
2024.
I think the next show will be 2023.
Yeah, no.
Oh, yeah. We're sorry, Deshay. We didn't talk much sex. She says, this was a really interesting topic. Not much sex, though. LOL. We need to definitely talk more sex. I think we're all qualified to talk about sex.
We will do a special episode about swirl sex. Just for you.
And religion.
Swirly sex.
In Jesus' name, when you call it Jesus.
Jesus. All right, guys, we got to get Dee to a safe place before she gets struck.
Yeah.
So we'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.